What's up, Wait, let's go here. What's up, everybody? This is Ruben. I just wanted to talk Dodger baseball real quick. The Dodgers are playing the Milwaukee Brewers at Dodger Stadium today at 5:40. I'm not a fan of changing the night games. The night games should be at 7:30 like they always are. I have a huge issue with that. I don't like you're changing these little details up, and I would like to see the Dodgers, you know, you always look at the little details, right? From Grandal's glove not being, having issues with the glove, that throws everything off. These little details, when you have the time of the game change, when you have these little details that affect the game. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that that you're changing things up at the last minute here. So that being said, I still like the Dodgers to win. They're favored by a point and a half, which is essentially 2 runs, or 2 points, or 2 runs, or whatever. They expect them to score almost 8 runs in the game. I think that's an interesting thing. One thing to note is, how are the Milwaukee Brewers going to do on the road? How are they going to do dealing with the Los Angeles Dodgers at home? Dodger Stadium is going to be alive, dude. It's going to be packed. There's going to be 50-something thousand people there. It's going to be, a televised game. It's going to be, the pressure's on, the spotlight's on. So I like the fact that, this game, I'm not a fan of the game being on a Monday, but everybody's going to tune in. I don't think it matters what day it's going to be. Obviously, you want it to be on the weekend, right, where you get the most viewers. I don't know why they can't do that. But I do know that, you're playing a bunch of games without a whole bunch of rest. So I like that you got to go with what you go with. The pitching staffs on both sides have been utilized. The first game, Kershaw got lit up. The other guy did pretty well. The Dodgers got took the L in the first game. The second game, the Dodgers took they took a page out of Milwaukee's playbook where they used a bunch of pitchers and they got the win, So if the Dodgers split these 2 games at home, I don't think it's going to do them very much. I don't think it's going to help them at all. They got to win both these games. That if they do that, then they got 3 games to win 1. That means they'll be up 3-1 with 3 games left. They have an opportunity to close it out, So if they split the series, they split it, it'll be 2-2. Then it'll basically be like a best-of-3 series. Whoever wins, first 2 games moves on. But I like the Dodgers to win. I think that it's going to be too much in terms of offense. I want to see them score a bunch of runs, hit a bunch of home runs, and kind of, put the game away handily. I think that the Dodgers have a good opportunity to go to the World Series again. That'll be 2 years in a row. I think there's a lot to be said about, putting all these players together. But it's like you can put these teams together where you have players that are high quality players, but it's still a challenge in getting them to play together and trying to get them all to kind of be in sync with each other. I think that's what the Dodgers are facing. Yeah, they have a huge budget. They can spend a lot of money, but you can tell that they have a hard time reining all these people in and getting them all kind of consistent. This whole season has been about inconsistent play by everybody. I mean, it wasn't until the last they had to play an extra game for them to make it to the playoffs. So this whole season has been nothing but this ups and downs. They're being consistently inconsistent. So I look at it that way. I think that they have a chance. You got 2 games at home. Why not? Dodgers. They can put some runs together. They have a lot of firepower. Let's get it done. One thing to note is, when is Kershaw going to pitch again? When is Ryu going to pitch again? One of my buddies was telling me that maybe it would have been a good idea for Ryu to pitch game 1 and then bring Kershaw in. I was thinking about what he was saying, and he made some good points. But I still like, we're so used to Kershaw being the ace that until he consistently proves that he can't do it no more, he's got to stay in that one spot. That one spot is going to be his for a long time until he can, until he just can't do it no more on a consistent basis. He can have a bad game and be okay, but if he has, a bad season, then it's going to be a different thing. I think what's going to hurt Kershaw is his injuries. I think he's going to eventually get to the point where he just can't play no more because he's injured, whether it's his back or whatever he's got going on. But, we'll wait and see. We'll find out. But, if Puig could come alive, I want to see Puig have a breakout game. It's like he's been getting struck out a bunch lately, and he gets in these little funks where he can't consistently get on base. He does the other things. He's an all-around player, but I would like to see him, be more consistent at the plate. So that being said, all the other bats we have, from Machado to Muncy to Bellinger to Peterson to all these, role players, they need to step up, and we need some consistent wins here. We need to get we need to get prepared for the American League. The American League has two good teams that are going to basically beat each other up for probably 5 or 6, or hopefully they go 7 games, so their pitching staff gets worn out. That's kind of what we're doing in Major League playoffs now. It's like their pitching staffs have to be worn out, and pitching staffs, if they're not utilized right, they're going to be the reason why you lose. We obviously, I talked to my buddy about Game 7, that they should have let Kershaw pitch at the beginning. He could have came in and pitched some consistent innings, and at least we would have still been in it. Let's not get lit up at the beginning. That's another thing too. If we're gonna lose, let's lose at the end of the game. Let's not put ourselves in a big huge hole at the beginning. That's like the buzzkill, the deflator of all deflators. And it's also when you put the coffin in a team. When you get 5-6 runs in the first 3 innings, the first 3 innings are going to tell you how this game is going to go. You're going to see if everything settles down. It's going to be a pitcher's duel. It's going to be the first 3 innings. If nobody strikes, if nobody scores first, it's going to probably go into this. It's going to be a 2-2 game, a 2-1 game, a 2-0 game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. So I kind of think that's going to happen. I think everybody's kind of settling down now, and I think the good weather we're having at Dodger Stadium, it's going to be, for a good pitcher's duel. So we'll see what happens. But, and again, you bring up this issue of, my buddy made another good point too. Here's another tremendous point, is like, we just got to play baseball. A lot of times too, the analytics of who to play and when to play them and when to put them in, and statistics and probability says this and that, and the shift and all these other kind of analytical factors that they put into playing these games. I think it's an issue of, let's just play the games. Let's just go and get people out. Let's make some hits. Let's manufacture some runs. Let's manufacture some runs the old-fashioned way. Get a couple hits and get people on base. And we've done that. We had that bases loaded scenario in Game 2, and it produced a couple of runs for us. So I like that idea of, it doesn't always have to be a home run. It doesn't always have to be the long ball. It's nice, but sometimes you can kind of get stung by that too. Sometimes you can get stung by the long ball, where the long ball kind of hurts you, and it kind of puts you in a position where it's like you rely on it too heavily. So then you don't play baseball where you're playing to manufacture runs all the time. And sometimes, you see other teams do that, And if you look forward, let's just assume that the Dodgers close out the series and they make it to the World, and they make it to the big show. You have a situation where you have either Houston or Boston, which are very, very good teams, and they have some very good starting pitchers. So hopefully, again, that's why I mentioned it going to 7 games in the American League, because the only thing you can do is just wear out your pitchers, and hopefully their ace doesn't pitch Game 1. And then you have an issue where, if your ace is not pitching Game 1, then the other team doesn't pitch their ace too. So sometimes that gets neutralized, where, let's say if Kershaw's the ace and Verlander's the ace, and they both don't have rest, and both teams decide not to pitch them, then now Game 1 is being pitched by your second or third best pitcher on both sides. So both sides, they feel like they don't want to waste it on the ace. And then so, that's an interesting chess match that a lot of these teams play, where you start looking at the strategy of how to play playoff baseball. Now the Dodgers they've been to the playoffs 5 years in a row, so you would think that experience is on their side. Although Houston won the World Series last year, and Boston is a perennial all-star playoff team, is Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't have the experience. Milwaukee doesn't have um, the experience of in these situations. Does the coaching staff have that? Is what it being unique? Does the pressure, does the anxiety of having to perform at such a high stage? I mean, there's going to be all eyeballs are going to be in that game today. There's only one baseball game in town in the whole country. So if baseball is an international sport, that's the most popular baseball game in the world right now. It's going to be all eyes on that. And the question is can Milwaukee step up? Can Milwaukee respond? They lost one at home. Are they going to split the series at home with the Dodgers? If they don't split the series and the Dodgers win two, it's over. If they split the series, then it's going to be anybody's game. But I would like it to be where the Dodgers win two here. I think they can grab two. They'll control that. And I think you will all be in position. I think the Dodgers will be in position to get to a World Series and maybe get some of these people rested up so that we can pitch our ace in the first game and we can, start strong. Just like this game, we cannot be just getting lit up at the beginning. Again, I'm going to say it again. If we get lit up at the beginning, it's going to be a rough, long night. And if we can keep it low scoring through 4 or 5 innings, then it's a strategy thing. Then it's, how good is our manager versus your manager. And I think that that's something that, to think about. So anyways, this is my little rant on the Dodgers. It'd be interesting to see the lineup and, who is playing and who isn't playing, because that's always an interesting thing. The first game, they kind of changed out the pitchers. They held out who was going to decide to pitch for a long, up until the end of the game, up until the beginning of the game. So that being said, Milwaukee's got to go to Los Angeles and play like a mid-evening game, a 5:40 game. That's really unusual. Obviously, you want to get people on the East Coast watching, so I get it, right? Because if you start at 7:30 on the West Coast, then the game's going to go all the way to, it's going to start at 10:30 on the East Coast, and that's not cool, So I get that. You want more eyeballs on it. And, the more eyeballs, the more entertaining, the more, that's just the way it works, right? Sports entertainment, it is still a business, and you still want to attract advertising dollars. And nobody wants to advertise on a, baseball game that goes to midnight on the East Coast. So they pushed it back a couple hours. Again, it is unusual that the Dodgers have to play at this time at home. Usually the majority of their games are at night games. They start at 7:30. So I think that the night game aspect, is that a factor? Does that factor in how they start their day? All these players, and that's another thing too that a lot of people are not talking about. The families of these players, Kershaw has kids. All these people have kids. Everybody says, well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. Yasiel Puig has kids. All these guys are family men and they have kids. And for you to say that that doesn't matter, that you just put that on hold, that you just ignore that, that's absolutely categorically not true. You have a family. Those family members come first. Obviously, this is your job, but you're not going to completely dog out your family to play in playoff baseball. So because the schedule is different than usual, everybody has to adjust to that. So if the kid's got to get up early to get you to the thing, is that going to be an issue? Traffic. There's a whole bunch of these little factors that people think that don't matter, but they do matter, because now in playoff baseball, everything is about details. Everything is about the 1% difference, right? Milwaukee's good. The Dodgers are good. It's a small percentage of difference. If you're playing a basement team like the Giants or something like that, and you're heads and shoulders above, better than them, yeah, they're probably going to get a game here and there, and they're going to win, and they're 30 games below 500. Yes, that's true. There's a huge discrepancy there. But these playoff teams, they're almost identical in the sense that they all have good records. They're all capable. They're all disciplined. It's the 1%, that little difference, that makes it all. It makes the difference to get the W and the loss. That's why I harp so much on, the schedule change. I harped on Grandal changing his glove. That's the 1%, the 0.5% difference that people think that doesn't matter, but that's the difference, dude. A pitcher is pitching to a catcher. They got to have confidence in each other. And he sees that the catcher's struggling with his mitt. For you to tell me that that doesn't rattle a pitcher, I don't care how experienced you are. I've never even heard of a catcher having that type of issue in a playoff game. So that being said, come on. Go to the store. You got money. Go pay somebody to fix the glove, dude, before the game. I'm gonna keep on talking about that. That bugs me, dude. It's like, how are you? It's like forgetting your shoes to a game. Really? Is that really happening? You know, do you not have access to a private jet? Do you not have access to the best people to do glove repair? And you're fooling with the glove, and you change gloves out, and you miss all the balls, and it directly impacted the game. That seems so fishy and dumb. You need to we need to let him go. Move on from that guy. You can't make those kind of mistakes, especially now in the playoff atmosphere. You're looking at a lot of ad dollars. You're looking at revenue. You're looking at bragging rights. You're looking at, that's why you play sports, is to get to the championship. And you're messing up that way. So is that Dave Roberts' fault? Is that Grandal didn't tell anybody about it? Is that Dave Roberts not managing effectively when it comes to looking at these little details? Is that Dave Roberts looking at his staff and saying, okay, we're going to have a strategy for here, make sure everything's on point, and it's not on point? So, I ultimately think it's Dave Roberts is, culpable for some of those tiny little detailed mistakes. That's what puts you above everybody else. I'm not going to talk about football in this post here, but we talk about, I'll just briefly say that, Tom Brady is a good example. He's 41 years old. He doesn't have an opportunity to make a bunch of little tiny 1% mistakes. He's too old. He can't get a major injury because of something he messed up on, a scheme or coverage, or he waited too long. He can't do that. He gets a major injury, they're going to cut him because he's 41. He's an old man. Yeah, 5-time Super Bowl winner, and he took apart the Chiefs and he got that W. But I'm going to use that as an example of, he doesn't have 2% to mess up. He's looking at the details because he's got everything else. So it's the same thing with the Dodgers and the organization. Dave Roberts, if he doesn't come through, or he's another coaching misfires that he does, in other words, being detail-oriented, if he messes up again, I could see them going a different direction with Roberts. I think he's a good coach, but who cares about having a good regular season coach when you can't perform in the playoffs? That's a huge issue for a lot of teams, and obviously the Dodgers are lucky to be here in the first place because there's only 4 teams left, and in a week there'll only be 2 teams left. So anyways, long story short, I think the Dodgers are going to win. I think the score is going to be 5-3. Dodgers going to get the W. I think the starting pitching staff on both sides is going to go 4 or 5 innings. I think it's going to settle down. I think the fair weather and the time, I think it's going to have a factor to it. So anyways, if you guys think I'm full of it, tell me. If you think I'm spot on, tell me. It's all good. I don't have to be right about everything. All right? Talk to you guys later. Bye.